Everybody in Good evening. I'd like to call to order tonight's board meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2015. Looks like we're a little after 7 from what I can see. 7:01 p.m. First order is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Sherby, the roll call, please.
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present. Present.
Present. We do have a quorum, and thank everybody for coming this evening. Our next item under 4 is presentations. Do we have anything this evening?
We do not.
We do not. Item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak, and in the interest of adjourning by 9 p.m., please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length unless further time is granted by the board on active or general matters. So if anyone wants to say anything to us, step up to the microphone, introduce yourself for our clerk, and we'll go from there.
Good evening. My name is Bill Santelli. I live on Balmoral Avenue. I'd like to talk about two things, if I might. One is blight or maybe code violations in the city as far as housing, maintenance of housing is concerned. As I ride my bicycle through town, I've noticed seems more and more I'm finding homes that are, not quite what they should be. They need attention. One in particular that I might like to talk about now is one directly behind La Petite Restaurant. Now, if you go in the parking lot there, and I'm sure you must probably all have been there and probably all saw it.
Yeah, we took the fence down.
It's got a dilapidated fence. Half of it has fallen down. There's a garage there that has some paint on it, mostly all peeled. Wood that isn't peeled off, it's rotten. There's a service door on the garage that's open or missing. I don't know which. Who knows what might go on in there. It's a bad situation. It needs attention. And it's been that way for years, and it's getting worse all the time. It appears no one lives there, but I don't know.
Just to give you a little history, that is a foreclosure piece. I know that in the past, the code enforcement has made contact with the mortgagee because there was some limbo period between who owns it and when the bank takes possession, then we have some enforcement rules. But we will certainly go after it once again. You know what? Drive up and down, there's another 100 just like that. In the alley behind Young Prince, garages, the north side, our code enforcement person, B&F. She's one person. She needs really to be here 5 days a week instead of 3. And I know she's getting some help from the police department now in writing up the violations. But we had like 64 grass complaints alone, let alone something that has some structure issues. And the fences in the Balmoral Alley, and I know this board has been made well aware by the activities of me during the week of what's happening here. So we'll get the address. I know there was one right across the street that we dealt with that I ended up painting the door myself and cutting the grass myself and trimming the bushes myself.
This place is immediately behind.
Yeah, this one, there was one right across the street on Bond that was pretty much in similar.
It's a bad sight, and a lot of people see it, and I don't want the town to be seen that way.
I get it. Number 2.
Stop sign violations in the town. Now, I saw the YouTube of, I think it was July 27th or 25th meeting, something like that.
Okay.
And in that meeting, it was stated that was looked into, and something like 85 hours of monitoring was done, and 12 tickets were issued. Come on.
You sound like me.
This is one subject that really bugged me. Seeing I had a very close encounter with a car blowing off a stop sign in the town at one time. I had to run for my life. Now, when I was working, I used to walk down Balmoral to catch the bus on Canterbury, and there's about a 5-minute walk there. And on my way to the corner, I monitored at least 10 to 15 blatant violations of that stop sign every day. And I said to myself, gee, when I retire, maybe I'll work for the town. You give me a ticket book and I'll stand on the corner in between Balmoral and Canterbury and Westchester Boulevard and Canterbury intersection. I'll support the entire police department.
Well, Deputy Chief O'Hagan is here. I'm sure he's going to relay the information to the chief and go from there. And I wish I had my ticket book too, like I had in the past, because my pen would be on fire.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a bad situation. Well, most people kind of stop at stop signs, you know, but
Yeah.
Nobody meets the criteria of the camera stops, you know, where there's absolutely no
Cessation
motion
of
of the
motion.
wheel whatsoever. I mean, if a car's virtually stopped, I'm fine with that, but the ones that blow it off like it's just a normal street, and that happens
Those are
all
the time. Well, thank you for your commentary, and thank you for making me look good, because these are the things that I know I've been talking about for years, but I might as well whistle into the wind at some time. That's what I feel at times.
Well, thanks
So,
for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Evening, Mayor.
How are you doing,
Trustees.
fine, sir?
I'm doing okay. I got a letter and a CD for you, Mayor. I'm going to give it to the clerk.
Please introduce yourself for our clerk.
My name is Jim Smetak. I live at the corner of Oxford and Balmoral, longtime resident. Basically, over the years, I've had a very bad flooding problem. I've seen several commissioners. Started with Gerald Jensen. Last one was with Dennis DePascal. Both of them had patchwork type ideas. Neither one of them would address the problem at the source. Basically, the neighbor put a driveway on top of existing driveway, severely raising the grade. This can be visibly seen from the public sidewalk because forms around my property, they can't backfill it. There's 5 inches exposed concrete from the front of the house to the back of the house. Over the years, the roots may have grown into a pipeline underneath the public sidewalk. The public sidewalk's collapsing. But when her sump pump kicks in, water gushes up between her foundation and my driveway, her driveway, cascades over her driveway, floods it out. I have water up to the second course of brick in my house, eroding the mortar. Mortar doesn't take water very well. Concrete does, mortar doesn't. I'd appreciate it if this could be addressed. I have a 20-minute CD for you to watch. I'd given a copy of it to Dennis, but it was on a VHS tape, and we were kind of unhappy it wasn't on a thumb drive. When you dig into the driveway to get at the broken pipe alongside her house, you will see the original driveway. And the last thing, which will be most hard to prove, but can be done with a transit, is the homeowner brought dirt in and filled in their backyard and pitched the backyard from the alley to the house, so therefore there's standing water at the north end of their house, which is also shown in the CD. This house, if the building inspector was to stop by tomorrow, let's say the lady's in her late 70s, early 80s and passed away, building inspector wouldn't see none of these problems. They would be hidden. And therefore, I hope this CD goes on file in this village and something's done.
Okay, we'll give it to Sherby right there, and we'll get it to
Stop by
the,
house, you know where I live.
I know where you live.
I would like it if you would stop by. There's other problems at other homes where the building commissioners or building inspectors in the past allow driveways to be put on top of existing driveways, and I think you will see some of the problem. I myself can't ignore this anymore. If the village isn't going to do anything, I've talked to an IDOT engineer. He looked at it. He says the village doesn't want to do anything. I may have to get a lawyer. I have another copy for the village manager of the CD if you would like it.
Mhm.
I will drop it off. Would you like me to drop it off tomorrow?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have a third copy for Pam Ekman. So we're going to take care of this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Jim, you have a great day. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay. Public hearing, do we have any?
No, we do not.
Consent agenda, A through D, looks like a short one. Approval of the record of bills ending 8/20/15 in the amount of $741,584 and a nickel. Approval of the minutes of July 7th executive session, August 11th board, August 11th committee of the whole. Item C, an ordinance waiving the requirements of the Village of Westchester purchasing policies and procedural manuals and authorizing the purchase of a Sensitive AccuMag water meter and accessories from HD Supply Waterworks Limited for an amount of $13,865. I understand that's sole provider?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And item D, a resolution authorizing the closure of the Inland Bank money market account maintained by the Village of Westchester. Is there anything else that we missed? Anybody have a question on anything? Want to pull anything? If not, is there a motion and a second to approve
So moved.
A through D? I'm sorry. Tommy
Second.
and Frankie. Sherby, please call the roll.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On our active agenda, there's an ordinance approving change order number 1 to a contract between the village and Berger Excavating Contractors Services related to the Mayfair Reservoir Expansion Phase 2 project in the amount of $87,837. Motion is second.
So moved.
Tom, second.
Second.
Angelo. Robert, do you want to give us the tour on this, please?
As we discussed in the committee of the whole meeting last time we met, there's a number of items on the Mayfair Phase 2 project. One of the things that we're still assessing is the cost of the side streets. So the change order, if we look at the funding for next year and how much we need to borrow to do this project, if we don't authorize that work, this change order would be somewhat less. But right now it is for the modifications we need to install primarily the storm sewer connections to the new storm sewer. It's being built on all the side streets. That portion of this is about $66,000. And then some other costs for sizing up the water main. They had purchased a 10-inch because our atlas indicated 10. When we dug it open, it was 12. So we needed to have a $368 change for increase in size. And the water services are 21 each to reconnect for $21,000. On the first street we did, we saw that there was 6 to 8 that could potentially be adjusted. So on Buckingham, we only found 1, so this number potentially can be lower. So we only found 1 so far of the 21 water service modifications. So the total we anticipated was $87,837.
Okay, as I recall, we, out of this money was removed $26,000 that brought it down to $87 for
Removal of plumbing.
the plumbing, licensed plumbing in response to the $79,100 opinion from the Attorney General that you sent out as well. So there was a reduction in that amount from there. You know, I'll just state for the record, I know, I know that, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the engineers dropped the ball on this because they, you know, we said put this other pipe on those side streets. And again, we are a separated system, and they should have known that the storm sewers and sump pumps and all this other stuff should be hooked to this pipe. And for them to come back to us at this point in time and go, whoops. And the same thing with the water lines on that one side of the street that had to be either jury-rigged under or jury-rigged over in a spot. I'm just hoping that, from what my information, my sources, that there's no water main breaks from service leaks because those lines get frozen, and there's an issue with that. So I know the engineers did their thing. So I think we're stuck approving this to get the project going and moving on, but I can tell everybody that I'm not a happy camper in regards to this, and none of us should be, including everybody on this board, because I don't like surprises. And when we pay good money for engineering and people will look at this, I'm not an engineer, but I could have told you that the storm sewers get hooked up to the pipe in the middle of the street. Duh. So I'm very put out about it, which you and I have had that conversation already. So there's a motion and a second on the floor from Tom and Angelo. If anybody has any discussion, please. If not, Sherby, call the roll.
Trustee Celestino?
Aye.
Trustee Perry?
Aye.
Trustee Rita?
Aye.
Trustee Stecker?
Aye.
Trustee Yocevich?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun?
Aye.
President Hughes?
No. Item number B, a resolution approving an amendment to the Village of Westchester Home Flood Proofing Assistance Program.
So moved.
Carl, second.
Second.
Nick? Okay, from what I recall, we added block windows and a clean check to our existing program. And we also upped the amount to $2,000. Is that the 90-cent tour?
Yes.
There's one other item, does not have to be owner-occupied property, correct?
Right.
Okay, thank you, Michael. All right, motion and a second. Motion? Oh, Carl, Nick, I'm sorry. Any questions? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Perry?
Aye.
Trustee Rita?
Aye.
Trustee Stecker?
Aye.
Trustee Yocevich?
Aye.
Trustee Calhoun?
Aye.
Trustee Celestino?
Aye.
President Hughes?
Aye, motion carries as well. Janet, anything to report this evening?
Just one quick note. Our next board meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th, which is the day after Labor Day. So just want to remind everybody that village administrative offices will be closed in observance of Labor Day on Monday, the 7th. And as always, our police and fire will be available 24/7.
Thank you. Michael, anything?
Yes, this is actually pertaining to the committee of the whole, but we want to add a discussion item regarding an amendment adopting the new version of the plumbing code. We have to approve that at our second meeting in September, and we're still awaiting approval on the review from Department of Public Health. My office sent out to the Department of Public Health on the same day last week. We got back Elmwood Park's approval and nothing yet from Westchester. Exact same language, but we're hoping to get that in a couple days. But we'll need to discuss that on the cow so that we don't have to waive it at a future meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Michael. Board members, Frankie, EDC?
I was unable to attend our EDC meeting, so I have nothing to report.
I did swear in
Donna, good,
so
thank you.
I think she was part and
And
parcel.
now we're looking for one more,
That's what I
because you
understand.
took Bruce from us.
There we go. Thank you. Nikki?
I'd just been going back and forth with Greg and Chief Carpino regarding potentially revisiting the camera situation in Gladstone Park, or maybe some of the other parks. So I'm hoping to get together with Greg, the chief, and maybe Gary, and kind of see if we could revisit that.
Absolutely. Greg, I mean, you could probably shed the most light on that. My understanding, during my tenure, we had a camera on the pole.
Yes.
On the tower.
Yes.
And every time it rained or it lightning, it blew the camera to smithereens, more often than not.
Yes.
Is it working presently?
No. The camera was removed and returned to us about a year and a half ago. Sound
The
right?
camera at Gladstone, yes, we, it was on our light posts for our tennis courts, and we, removed the tennis courts and took the light posts down, so. That was like, yeah, last year, I believe.
What had occurred was that each repair was about $1,500 to $2,000 that we split between us and the park. And at that time, parties decided not to continue doing that. We then had the camera from Project Gold Shield on top of the antenna tower, which
That's
is
what
still
I'm
there.
talking about, yeah.
Oh, that's a different one. Then with that one up there, we haven't had access to it once the project shut down. We've made various phone calls to county as well as to Johnson Controls, the installer of the equipment there. In fact, at one point we had an incident, and Deputy Chief O'Hagan did try contacting them to get some video off it due to an incident that occurred in the park to see if there was any way to disprove or prove the situation had occurred. And
So there is a camera up there, is that my understanding?
On top of
There's a
the-
camera up there. You know what, I think we need to revisit that and call Mike down at Homeland Security, Mike Masters. And if they're not wanting it back or whatever, let's get some ownership of it and hook it into our system. Because we shouldn't be without it, especially with the crazy instances that appear to be happening at different times in that, so.
correct, but I think
Mike?
what Trustee Stecker is referring to is putting a camera back in the park, though.
As long as we
Just-
got some video, I mean, I don't know where you're gonna put it, how you're gonna put it. If we need to call ComEd to put a pole up someplace, maybe we'll need to do that.
I mean,
But if
there's-
the one on
there's
the
new-
tower's working, if it's gonna give you the same amount of feed here versus another 500 feet in, I mean, that's something that you tech wizards gotta figure out.
There's new poles over there that we could maybe jump on, like Gladstone, if we were looking to do that right
There's
there.
I mean,
ways
there's
to
no
do it.
sense to have a camera on the tower that's, you might as well wipe yourself with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so, all right. Sounds like a plan. Celeste, anything?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Nothing? Carl, anything?
No, sir.
Angelo?
Nothing.
Proviso West is open, you're taking a bright sigh of relief there, or what?
We're open. We're still going through some construction, so.
Tommy,
I
anything?
have nothing.
Nothing. Michael, anything the chief give you?
Speak up, I was working. The chief wanted to let you know that the bids were open for the 4 surplus vehicles. The vehicles that were sold at surplus were the 2008 Ford Explorer, the 2005 Ford that was a former Public Works vehicle, the 2005 Ford, which was an EMA vehicle, and then the blue 88 Chevy Astro van that was sitting out behind that was a seizure from a criminal act. All 4 of the bids, highest bids were accepted, and we're waiting to collect on those, and they were given a short window of time to remove the vehicles from the property. Okay. In regards to several of the burglary to auto arrests that have happened over the last several weeks, we did make an arrest through a positive fingerprint identification on one individual, and there's supposed to be a group of juveniles that investigation is working with that feel are responsible for this recent crime wave of people going to unlocked cars during the night and removing contents. Basically change, but in some cases there's small electronics that we're taking as well. So they're working with that. As well as Gladstone Park, there was a recent report of a juvenile that was robbed of some items through the investigations division. They identified one of the juvenile offenders in that, and the property has been returned to the victim. So that seems to be going very well. We're hoping that cooperation with the parents of the victim will help us prosecute that case. And also, as you know, the burglary on Westchester Boulevard at Joe's Place, there is a suspect in custody at this time, and felony charges were just approved on that as well.
Good, thank you. Sean?
The chief just wanted me to mention that we've got staffing of our reserve engine for the back to school and the fun run coming up in September. So that's going to be covered. A couple of guys off duty coming in for that.
Great, thank you. Maureen?
I'm just continuing to wrap up items for the audit currently. And then on the horizon, we are going to be, I'll be working with Amy and our financial software company to prepare for the monthly billing for the utilities. Right now, that's all we have in finance.
Gregory?
Yes, we had our movie last week on the 20th. We had Paddington out at the movie you saw. We have the fun run coming up. It's the Park District in cooperation with the village. They're going to have that on September 13th, Sunday. They have a run in the morning, 9 o'clock, as well as a kids run at 11 o'clock, as well as some activities later in the day, noon to 3, over at Mayfair Park. Additionally, we have our official DEA drug collection day of September 26th. I've spoken with Rob Verber, who advised that the School Resource Officer Association, the National Association of School Resource Officers, were trying to work with the schools nationwide to participate in that way, as well as get the information out to obviously rid the world of people putting drugs down the drain. So we have that date on the 26th. That's all I have.
Thanks, Robert.
Our 2015 street program is scheduled to begin tomorrow. The utility contractor for water and sewer should be up on Devonshire and Gladstone, beginning work on water services starting tomorrow. Had a number of water main breaks recently. Our flows are relatively high, so we get more flow in the pipe. As demand increases, we increase pressure. So we've seen a number of breaks. These are a little bigger than just small leaks. 2 of them have been blowouts. Sort of indicative of the condition of our system. A lot of town is 80 years old plus. And you see that the water main has really lost a lot of section. The thickness of the pipe is eroded down to virtually nothing, and then we have these pressure increases. They do burst. The last 3 breaks we've had in the last 10 days, our repair costs, not counting our direct labor charges or overtime, have been $7,586 just to repair these 3 breaks. I have a report that I'm preparing in the next few meetings to talk about the condition of our water distribution system. We have been having more and more failures each year, and as we track those trends, the trend's getting larger and larger. So what I'm trying to do is do an analysis to what a normal should be and then where we currently are. As I put those numbers together, I'll present that to the board. That's all the good news I have.
Thank you. I know there's been 8 breaks that I know the guys have let me know of, that they've done 8 of them, and the majority of those have been blowouts and actually resections of pipe, not just putting the sleeve on it. They've had to cut out 6-8 feet sections of water pipe because it's all in bad shape. So, all right, Melissa.
Good evening. I just wanted to remind you all, I sent out an email on Friday just requesting some additional feedback from the board regarding the real estate inspection. So if you could all reply back to me with the items that you want to see stay in the compliance inspection program, or what you want to see taken out. I just need a little more kind of specific or concrete feedback on what you want to see on that checklist. Just so that everybody knows, the EDC has been working on their next educational series meeting. It'll be on September 15th at the library. I actually will be the speaker at that one, talking about the different programs that we have available here at the village. Just so that everybody knows, I was able to attend the International Council of Shopping Centers. They have a retail conference. What it is all the retailers that are looking to expand in this region, they all come to this event and they give a little bit of information on the types of spaces that they're looking for, what towns they want to be in. So it's a good opportunity to see who's expanding in the region. And then just as an update for the wayfinding signs, I'm in contact with the contractor that put up the first 4 to look at getting the last 3 up. So hopefully those will be moving forward on that in the next, hopefully before winter comes, we'll have those up again.
And I think we already approved all of that, so we don't have to go through us again. Is that everybody's understanding? We just got to get the 3 signs up without a big to-do?
I believe it was in the hotel motel fund for this year.
Okay, great. A couple questions that I had. Sean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I will. I'm sure that you've apprised yourself of the study that was done, and one of the aspects of it that the board seemed to be positive is the second ambulance. To your knowledge, has Jim shared anything with you about moving that program forward?
Chief and I have had overlapping vacations, so I have not spoken in detail with him. I did talk to the outgoing shift commander this morning when I came out on. I was present when Mr. McGrath gave his presentation to the board a few weeks ago. The concern that I have as an officer, I'm sure Nick will understand, and I'm sure Mike will understand. Everything that we're kind of taught as we become officers is kind of to look the worst case scenario, to try and protect against that. In terms of staffing, like, for example, when we go out of town on a fire, if we were to go, they would prefer to have 4 guys go. They would accept 3. So when we got the extra guy, I tend to lean towards keeping the extra guy at Mayfair because my dedication always, first and foremost, is to this borough proceeding because this is who the employees do. And I would prefer to have 3 guys going out of town for a fire and an extra guy to have 3 guys say at Mayfair in the event that we have a fire while we're out. I certainly understand through what Mr. McGrath has said in terms of the majority of our calls are definitely ambulance. There's no question about that. Fire service has certainly become much heavier in terms of the EMS as compared to fire. And, again, being a representative of a fire protection agency, I'm delighted with that. The less property that we can lose and certainly the less life that can jeopardize with fewer fires, I'm all for it. But my concern, always lies in the fact of, worst case scenario, we have an ambulance call, we have a second ambulance, we jump from an engine company at the Mayfair station to a second ambulance and we send them out. And then 5 minutes later, we get a call for a structure fire, 2 blocks away, over in Norfolk. And we pull up and it's myself and the engineer. Still, we can get Broadview coming in and hillside, which, roughly is going to be 5 to 6 minutes. Certainly, it's something that we're going to have to address in our policies. We're going to have to understand that. I remember an Elmhurst firefighter who was here the night that Mr. McGrath gave his presentation, and he said, his concern is with the 2 in and 2 out, and Nick will understand that. For every 2 firefighters that you send into a building, it's ideal to have 2 firefighters fully equipped, ready to replace them, and ready to go when, almost like there's a major incident, if something would go wrong. When you're pulling up, there's only 2 guys, and somebody's got to run the pump. Obviously, that leaves one person kind of in the hot spot, if you will. Now, if I pull up and I know that there's a property that's vacant, I'm not going to, subject myself to going into that fire on my own to try and save property that just if I pull up and I've got somebody, saying that they've got a loved one inside, I would not hesitate to go in on my own to try and find that person. But again, it's just going to be trying to weigh the good and the bad, and I think I speak for the majority of the guys that I've talked to just today, on my shift about it. That's their concern. We understand the numbers in terms of numbers. We understand that it's not unlimited manpower, that you can just throw another 2 guys on for a shift to handle that. X amount of ambulance calls in proportion to the number we might have to, 2 simultaneous calls going at a time. We're not looking for that, but it's just a concern that it's going to have to be something that we as a department are going to have to address.
And only my commentary is, we always play for worst case scenario. If we do that in the police or fire, we'd have 100 guys here. The statistics from 3 top people who do this consulting that we pay $24,000 for made a recommendation based on their experience and time that basically with the numbers that we provided, that 17%, and that includes a garbage can fire to a structure fire, they weren't broken out. And the need certainly is the ambulance. And when people are waiting for another town or somebody else to come, and, you know, the same people that are paying taxes that now get service from someplace else that took a longer time period, and that's happened to me and others around here that we hear about when the justification is, look at the numbers, and we always look at percentages, and you could say, guess what? You could make that analogy and say, what if you got 3 calls at the same time? What would you do? Leave one go? Because that'll happen. I mean, that's a possibility as well. Yeah. But again, we have you've got the best mutual aid system going in the fire department. Far better than NIPAS and the car plan, because we don't exercise it on the basis that you do it every day. We do it willy-nilly, and, you know, it works when it's supposed to work, but we don't do it in the police science, in the police area like you guys do it. It's an automatic. You get an engine, you get a car, you get a chief, you get a photographer. It's perfect. Yeah. Right.
But I remember a number of years ago when Broadview had a terrific layout of their personnel, and that's police, fire, and public works were all cut down. And I remember talking to a member of the Broadview Fire Department who was left on the job, and he said, the problem with this is, it might go a week, it might go a year, it might go 3 years, it might never happen. Where cutting down on that personnel and showing up with fewer people and kind of standing by until the mutual aid comes in to fill out. As long as that goes on and there's no big incidents, nobody's going to hear about it, nobody's going to pay any mind. And I would certainly expect the same, would come. I know that I've got terrific, faith in all of my paramedics, all of our paramedics, I should say. And they'll do a terrific job, and they will. They will be at that second ambulance call, in a matter of minutes, and it will never be known by the community, if they're not specifically looking for it until that one time comes, and that, like I say, that's what we are paid in our position. And, as a deputy chief, you would understand that that's what we have to look out for. I know that the ambulance calls will be dealt with. What we have to do is prepare for that one time when it comes, and what are we going to do? And again, that's where our SOPs are going to have to be.
Good. I appreciate your commentary. It's been one of the best refreshing ones that I've heard from someone sitting in that chair for a long time. But thank you very much. I know, Melissa, we talked about this earlier today. I know we brought it up last year, almost a year ago. We passed a resolution the other day about the handicap parking situation. If you sent the letters out and people didn't comply, back when we talked about this in the winter, we need enforcement. I was at a place today picking weeds, and there wasn't one handicap spot in the whole place. And it seems like everything we do is lengthy, okay? And we need to really focus on cutting down what the board wants and the actions that we're looking for and following federal law and state law, and get off our rear ends and get the notices out there, the tickets out there, and get the compliance. There should be not a business out there that doesn't have a stripe thing with a sign that's enforceable. 'Cause if it doesn't have the sign, it's not enforceable. You got to have the handicap marking and whatever. All you got to do, I was at Jewel today, and there was a guy driving around and looking for a handicap spot, and they were all taken. And he got out, and he had to park in a spot with an extra space so he could get out with the wheelchair. Now, I don't know, the spots were taken, but I felt bad for this guy that now had to wheel himself from here to there. You've heard me before about the veterans at Hines and all the limbs and all this other stuff, and they had 25 years to get their stuff in order, and they did not. So I have no empathy or no sympathy for anybody who didn't do what they were supposed to be doing, and it's our fault because we didn't push it. So prior mayors or prior boards that sat on their hands and didn't follow the law and pounded their chests, guess what? We're going to follow the rules. And especially now with all the veterans that are coming back that are looking for places. So we need to get those letters out ASAP if you haven't, and start ticketing and get into compliance. It's as simple as that. Mike, I understand that there was an unfortunate incident involving a resident with some type of overdose and of a prescription drug that are not non-prescription drug. Do you know, or I'm just asking, is it our policy or our practice to, other than saying, oh, it's a suicide, have a nice day, that we're going back and trying to track down where that person may have gotten the illicit drugs? There's other communities out there that are trying to follow that paper trail, because it is a crime if somebody gave the drugs to him and he used it and he unfortunately passed away as a result of using it, that there's some culpability there that we should also at least examine to the best of our ability. It might be a dead end, and we might say, guess what, we didn't find anything, but I think we should be following the scheme and at least getting that follow-up. And and maybe you're on it, I don't know, but I think that should be one of the procedures we're going through.
There is a depth investigation, and as you can imagine, at a time like this, there's a lot of emotion involved. And quite often, we find is that cooperation from family and friends to give us that type of information isn't always as helpful as we would like. So we're working with the medical examiner's office. Obviously, the medical examiner makes the final determination, and a lot of that will be completed with the toxicology.
Great.
The
Right.
information that we have isn't being just left alone and taking
Yeah.
pictures and leave, but there is a bit of difficulty getting cooperation.
And I understand timing is of the essence, but in my opinion, in my experience, I think that as soon as there's an incident is probably the best time to get a hold of that cell phone, at least to copy everything down and download all the numbers and times and whether you give it back, because that's probably the best time to try to get the information. But, you know, when a toxicology comes back and says whatever, especially if there's evidence, there's a needle, there's a spoon, there's this, there's that, the history, that getting it 6 weeks later when the toxicology report comes back, you might as well just spin your wheel. You know that. So, all right. Thank you for bringing up the code stuff. That was one of my other hits today. And I'll shut up. Do we have an exec this evening?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Under which one? A, B, C, or all three?
All three.
All three. Under 5LX 122C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. Under 5LX 122C2, collective negotiation matters between public body and employees. And C, 5LX 122C11, litigation when the action affecting on behalf of the particular body has been filed and is pending for a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered in the minutes of the closed meeting. So as far as our board meeting, unless anybody has anything else, is there a motion to second to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Nick, Tommy, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposition, say no. We stand adjourned.